Seattle City Light is proud to support Climate of Change. In buildings and residence halls, power plants, and open spaces on campus, sustainability is real. It's being practiced everywhere, even in the largest structure of all. Since 1920, Husky Stadium has played host to a countless number of thrilling moments. But structural and seismic issues made it necessary to rebuild. Renovation began in November 2011. The goal from the beginning was to make this giant structure of concrete and steel as green as possible.
Well, we want to be great stewards.
Project manager Chip Lydom is quite pleased with the steps being taken to make the new Husky Stadium as sustainable as possible. It all began with demolition.
We tore down the former deck behind me. It was a full 15,000 seat deck that was built in 1950 that was demolished to the ground. 90% of that structure, concrete and steel, was ground up and recycled. And most of the concrete was ground up and used on site as backfill for the new stadium. So both for cost, for sustainability, for truck travel, there were less truck trips out of here.
Next came measures to protect waterways near the stadium. With the UW being a certified salmon-safe campus, all toxic runoff from the construction site was filtered before it went into Lake Washington.
We had a retention pond built by the contractor on site. It was pretty remarkable. Usually they rent those facilities, but it was such a massive runoff job, not from the lake, but from the site proper, that water, again, with all the debris, needed to be filtered before it went into the system.
When it came to choosing building materials, regional wood, stone, and brick were used as much as possible.
The steel was put together in Portland, Oregon, so it didn't come from overseas. We have a lot of our materials are right in the Puget Sound area. So it helps our own economy. It's kind of local grown in effect, and then we don't have all the transportation issues to bring it, which puts a heavier footprint on. So that was really a high-profile effort we had.
What really stands out is the lovely woodwork you'll find in corridors and tunnels.
They're natural wood products from the Pacific Northwest, and I don't think there is a stadium in America that has this kind of treatment. It's very authentic, very natural, part of the environment. It's great.
Inside the stadium, transportation has changed dramatically. Karen Babler, assistant athletic director, says the old stadium, believe it or not, had only one elevator. Now, it has 10.
It used to be that we would have fans brought up to their upper level seats and turrets that went around, and golf carts, gas golf carts would take them up. So now they'll be riding the elevators instead of taking the golf carts. In addition, we'd have trucks that would come through the stadium and gather all the waste. And now instead of trucks going through, the elevators will serve as a vehicle for moving waste.
Speaking of waste, there are no garbage containers in the stadium. None. Only bins for compost and recycling. All concessionary food containers will be compostable or recyclable. Highly unusual for a football stadium.
In the arena, we found that 55% of the waste that was going into the garbage cans was actually compostable. So most of the materials in the stadium will be compostable.
The list of sustainable practices here seems endless. 90% of construction waste is being recycled. Animal habitats have been protected. Trees and shrubs that stood here before the renovation were saved and replanted on site. For Chip Lydom, it's only natural for this to be all happening at the newly renovated Husky Stadium.
I'm a Seattle native, so this is and a UW graduate, so this is really exciting to basically make Husky Stadium last for another 100 years, another few generations, and then do it with our eye on sustainability.